Hey guys, this is the alternative assignment for those who aren't able to make it to the in-person TD held on Wednesday. The topic is going to be on automation with Figma, and if you aren't familiar with it or haven't encountered it in a course yet, Figma is just basically a design tool that you can use to design websites, mobile apps, and other digital projects. It's also popular with product managers, writers, and developers since it helps anyone involved in the design process to contribute, give feedback, and make better decisions faster. So the goals for this TD is to just use Figma to one, automate your Figma workflows, and two, streamline your processes. So for the initial setup, if you don't already have an account with Figma, just go ahead and do that right now. So you're going to navigate to figma.com/login. I'll also post this link under the TD workshop resources under the Temple AS website. So what you're first going to do is at the bottom of the page, there's going to be a link that says create one next to no account, and you're going to click that. Okay. And then the easiest way to log in is just to use a Google account to sign in. And I'm just going to use my Temple account. Okay. And then if you set up your account for the first time, it's going to ask you a series of questions. And you can put anything really for that. And then once you're done with those questions, you just want to land on this page. And that's when you know you're logged in. So once you're logged in, you're going to navigate to the Figma community site. It's going to be under this URL. I'm also going to post it on, again, the TD workshop resources. But once you're here, in the search bar, you're going to type in Automator and then press Enter. And then you're going to shift to the Files and Templates tab on the left here. And then you're going to locate Outline Child Instances, this design file, and you're going to click it. And you're going to click Open in Figma. And then I'm just going to select my Temple account. Okay, and then when you click that button, it's going to open the file in a new tab. And what you're going to do is you're going to drop down this arrow at the top, and you're going to select duplicate. And then what this does is that it's going to make a copy of the design file into your drafts on your own account. And so once you have this inside your drafts, you're going to navigate back to the community site and click the back arrow here. And then this time we're going to want to shift the tab to plugins. And then the first result should be Automator. And then you're going to click Open In on the right. And then you're going to click the copy that you just created inside your drafts. That way we can access the Automator plugin inside this template. So the resource icon is going to pop up with a window plugin here, and you want to click Run. And then an Automator window should pop up like this. Yours should be blank. As you can see, I've played around with this a little bit. From here, we're just going to jump into our first exercise. I'll try to go a bit slower than normal since although it's not as coding heavy as the previous TDs, there's just a lot of steps and buttons to click, so I'll try to explain everything one by one and then allow time for you to follow along in real time. Okay, so say you need to grab elements of your design to represent the disablement of a feature. So on the left menu bar, you're going to switch from cover to components page. And let's say that this Automator plugin window doesn't appear for you. So let me click out of it. There's three ways to access plugins. So the first one is by clicking the resource icon at the top and then ensuring that the plugins tab is selected. And inside your recents, Automator should be listed right here. So you're going to click it. And then the Automator window should pop here. Okay, let me click out of this. And then the second method is to right click, or for Mac users, it's Control click. That's equivalent to a right click for Windows. And you can right click anywhere on this canvas. And then you're going to scroll down to plugins and select Automator. And then the Automator window should appear. And the last one is just a keyboard shortcut where you're just going to press Control P. P is short for plugins. You just type in Automator and then select the option for the plugin, and then it'll appear right here for you again. Now we want to create a new automation by clicking this plus sign at the top, And then we're going to edit it a little bit. We're going to edit the name by clicking this edit icon. And then we're going to name it disable button. And then you can also assign the automation a custom color for user identification later too. But I'm just gonna stick with the blue, the first one, and then I'm gonna hit the back arrow. And then I'm gonna add an action by clicking the plus sign here, located right next to the actions. And then I'm gonna type get current selection. And then the first one should pop up here. That's the right one. And then I'm gonna select it. And then I'm gonna add another action by clicking the plus sign again. And I'm gonna type add fill. Select it. And then I'm going to drag it into current selection. This will make it a nested action underneath get current selection. So once this executes, the sequential step is going to be add fill right after. And then once add fill is selected, we're going to change the fill to a light gray to show that the feature is not available or you're not able to access it. And so light gray is just 6 E's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you can see the color pops right here. And then to add another action, you click the plus sign again, and then you're going to type find layers, and then select it. And then we're going to edit the following. We're going to select into it. We're going to find the children of parent action where type condition leave as is, and then the value will be text. Okay, and then how to read this is that we already selected the button here, so it's gonna get the current selection. It's gonna add a fill of gray, so it's gonna make the button gray. The next step will be it's gonna find anything within the selection where type is text. So the only thing inside the selection that's text is this open string. And then we want to add another child action, which is to set the fill for the text here, open. And then we're going to do this by clicking the plus sign again. I'm going to type add fill, select it, and then drag it into find children to make it a sequential step. And then once this is selected, we're going to change the text to make it white. And then to do that, that's just going to be 6 Fs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and change it to white. Now to test this new automation out, first of all, you're going to double click the button just to select the whole thing. And then you can press this play button at the bottom of the automator window. And if I zoom in, you can see that the end result is a grayed out button with white text. This action can vary on time to execute as automations can get more complex as you create it. The end result should look like this, a grayed out button with white text. Go ahead and screenshot this and then at the automator window here with your actions and then paste it into your answer sheet for exercise 1. Okay, for this next exercise, we'll try to do something fun to teach you about literal actions that can be automated. So we're going to create a new page by clicking this plus sign next to pages. We're going to name this exercise 2. Click out of it. And then I'm going to select this pen tool at the top. And I'm just going to draw a fun shape. You can just draw whatever. Yeah, it looks nice. And then hit done. And I'm just going to adjust to my liking. And then we're going to go back to this automator window, hit the back arrow to create a new automation here. And then to edit it, we're going to name this loops. I'm just going to change the color to red this time. Okay, when I hit the back arrow, now you're in the actions list that should be empty. So we're going to create a new action by clicking that plus sign up top. And then we're going to type get current selection and select it. And then we'll nest another action with this by clicking the icon again. And then we're going to loop through using a for each action. So we're going to type for each, select it, and this will loop through each object created from this automation to repeat the same actions that will follow this one. So we're going to drag it into get current selection here, and this will make the action sequential to the first action, get current selection. And then we're going to add another action by clicking again the plus sign. I'm going to type in create empty component, select it, and then components are kind of like frames where instead of creating copies of the same object or item, they rather create new instances. So we're going to drag create empty component into for each to make it a sequential step again. And then we're going to change the following. We're going to change name to base. And the width, we want it to be the same width as the item here. So it's going to be a variable. You define a variable with double curly brackets. So item dot width is going to reference the same width as this item. But for the height, we want it to make it twice the height as the item. So actually, let me do a demo on this. So let me just select this. As we rotate this item, you can see that it's rotating based on like an invisible anchor point like in the middle of this item. So rotate it, and you can see that it's rotating, yes, based off this middle part of the item. But if we double the component's height to, let's say, let me put this back straight. Okay. So let's say I make a rectangle that's the same height. Okay. So if you look at this one, height's 247, height's 247, same for the rectangle. And if I double it, so 247 times 2, and then put it on top, I'm going to remove the fill so you can see the item underneath it. I'm going to group these together. So to group things together, you're going to click on the first layer, and then you're going to click shift, and then click the other one, and then you're going to right click, and then select group selection. When we go to rotate this item, instead of rotating at this item's anchor point right here, since we grouped them together and now they're at different height, it's instead rotating at an anchor point somewhere around the middle of this whole group selection. So if I keep rotating it, you can see what I mean. So keep this kind of concept in mind when we're doing the loop animator, because we're going to do some rotations of this item to create a visual effect. For this anchoring point concept is what we're trying to change inside this loop animator. So instead of it rotating for this item's anchor point right here, instead we're going to create a component twice the height so that it can rotate somewhere around here. Okay, I'm going to undo all of this so I don't want the rectangle. And change that back to 0. Okay, I'm gonna undo all of this so I don't want the rectangle. And change that back to 0. So yes, I'm gonna double the height. So this item, dot height to reference its height. And I'm gonna multiply it by 2 because I want it twice the height as this item. And then you can leave x and y the same as the item, so it's gonna be item dot x, and then same item dot y. And then the description is optional, so you can just leave this blank. And again, double curly brackets is used to reference a variable. So we're going to add another action by clicking this plus icon, And again, we're going to get the current selection. So get current selection, select it, and then we're going to drag it into create empty components to make it sequential. So we're going to add another action by clicking the plus sign again. Right now, the current position is at the empty component, which I just selected inside this get current selection action. However, we want it to be back to the initial object's position right here. So we type in set position and then click it underneath layout. And then we're going to drag it under get current selection. And we're going to keep it at 0, 0 for x and y so that we can reference the initial position. And this will make the empty component lay inside the object. So the empty component will be pretty much a rectangle that's twice the length of this item. And then it's going to lay on top of it. And then we're going to add another action by clicking the plus sign again. And then we're going to type find layers, select it, and then we're going to drag it into set position. And then we're going to change the following. Keep find all, keep in current page, where we're going to change to name, and then condition be contain, and the value be base. Okay, and how to read this is just that the action will find all instances in the current page where the name contains a base. And if you see in the create empty components action, we name component base. And then we're going to add another action again by clicking that plus sign. We're going to type set selection and then select it. And this will set the selection back to the base layer that was located by this previous action find all. So this find all action found all the base layers. And then now we want to set it as the selection. Now we're going to add another action by clicking plus sign. We're going to type repeat, select it, and then we're going to drag it, of course, into set selection. This time we're going to change the following. We're going to change time to count, and count will be a variable that we're going to define later. So create another action, this time type insert instance, select it, and drag it in to repeat. And then what we're doing here is to repeat the steps we did earlier, selecting the base and then repeatedly insert an instance of it. So there'll be duplicates of it specified however many times we want. Oh, I almost forgot. The name should be base to reference the base layer. Inside create empty component, we want to reference that to insert the instance repeatedly. Okay, click that plus button again, and then we're going to type set rotation, select it, and then drag it into insert instance. And then we're going to set the rotation value to this variable angle that again we'll be defining later. Okay, add another action, and then we're going to type in ask for input, select it, but this time we're going to drag it all the way to the top. Should be the first item on the action list. And then this will be a prompt that will be asked to the user before the whole automation process begins. So for the variable, we're going to type in count. And this is the variable we used in the repeat action, and we define it here. And then the prompt will be just a question, how many times do you want this repeated? Or some variation like that. And whatever the user types in this prompt will be stored inside the count variable. And then add another action, and then type set variable. I swear, guys, we're almost done. Select it, and then we're gonna drag this right underneath our prompt, right underneath ask for input. So it'll be the second item on the actions list. And then we're gonna change the following. We're gonna change name to angle, and then value will be 0. And this will make the initial value of the angle 0. And we also defined our variable angle here inside set variable. And we use this right here inside set rotation. And we reference this here using the double curly brackets. And so we need to make one more set variable action within the loop. So we're going to click that plus sign. We're going to type in set variable, click it, and then we're going to drag it under set rotation. The name should be angle, and then the value should be angle, this time plus 10, and this will make the angle rotate at 10 degrees every time the loop is run. And see if this works, we're first gonna make sure that our item is selected, and then we're gonna press play at the bottom of the automator plugin window. It's gonna ask us that prompt, how many times you want this repeated. I'm gonna say 36, and I'm gonna click done. If I zoom out, I repeated it 36 times, this whole automation, and I created this cool effect where it spiraled 10 degrees every instance. So what you're gonna do for the deliverable is you're gonna screenshot this effect that you created from this automation, and then you're gonna also, oops, I think it's this one. This one. Okay, yes. Have this all expanded inside the automation window, and then side by side you're gonna screenshot this, and then you're gonna paste this screenshot inside your answer sheet for exercise 2. Okay, that's all for the final TD of the year. I hope everyone has a great summer, and take care.